Your who sukkah? Where?
My sukkah? I didn't send you. I'll call you later. I had a sukkah emergency an hour before sukkahs.
Oh,
They made
yeah?
me take the anti-Semitic. They made me rip my sukkah down before Yom Tov.
Are you serious? Why?
Yeah, it's a whole long thing. I don't want to. I don't want to share this year. I'll call you later tomorrow. I'll tell you. I'm curious to know if you think it's kosher.
Okay. Okay.
You sure you want to know about that now?
Sounds HOA related.
Yeah.
You sure you want to know about that 3 days in?
Yeah, it is what it is. Listen, if that's my worst surveyor, I'm pretty good. Let me tell you.
Another guy who does surveyors. Give me a break.
Aaron, we're not all like you. We don't do them. Some people do them, okay? We can't all be like you.
Oh, they're having what's it called? They're having a supervision.
Can you give me a clean cup, please?
There should be a clean cup. Let's have a supervision.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, you got the Aaron scan?
Whoa! That one came through for sure.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, guys, you gotta stop.
I've never seen you jump like that before. I've never seen you jump like that.
What?
I've never seen you jump like that.
Yeah.
Rev Aaron, it's like the old days in Shayashuv.
Who hit the bullseye?
Got bullets whizzing by my head. You know what I mean?
Real BBs.
And you said I should sleep in my.
Who?
You said I should sleep in my sukkah. Look what dangerous. Look what dangerous there is.
The best part is you can see parrots shooting them also on the same screen.
No. I think Parrot's left already. That's the problem.
No, he's still there.
Oh, he's still here?
Yeah, he's shooting the video.
No.
Parrots wave.
Oh, he's on there, Parrot. You don't think that the whole plan tomorrow is to do shoot BBs all day. That's our plan. So you think of, what?
I'm actually scared right now. That's gonna hit my head. Okay, it's gonna hurt.
Okay, let's go.
I'm getting such hana out of this. I can't even tell you.
It's like they went to South Bend and back in a day.
It's phenomenal.
Now we know how to scare Liner.
I want to see you drink and then a BB go right through that cup.
All right, Simon.
Yeah, you have to get a BB gun so you can shoot back.
My kid has a rifle BB gun. I walk into my kid's room to wake him up. On the other bed is a rifle and a pistol BB gun. So
Hey,
whatever.
you're just fitting in with the neighborhood nowadays.
Well, yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah. So now, so the chazar from yesterday, right? What time did we done? Nun Vav, right? So we had Nun Hey. We were on Talmud Beis, right? Why we need two different cases of adding a karfef to a city, which we're gonna have tonight again also. Then we said there's different buildings that extend the what do you call it? I don't know. It sounded like it. Sorry.
Where we holding?
We said that I'm just chazering. We'll be on Nun Vav Amud Beis on the top. So, and we said that you can extend the city with 70 Amos. So, depending on what type of building it is. So then we spend a whole lot of Gemara time talking about a building that had 2 walls and a roof. Didn't have 3 walls and a roof, but that's enough to extend the city or not. And then we had the whole whether vegetables are good for you, not good for you, and how much space in between the edge of a city that's shaped by a bow, right? We had the rainbow shaped, or actually just a bow, not a rainbow. And then the whole thing with the solstice and the constellations, how to figure out the north and the south. That's what we're up to. So tonight we do more. Yes. Tonight we have more of how to extend the city. Yeah. What are you saying?
Just one quick question.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Shabbos blot that spoke about sukkahs, basically huts, on sukkahs, is on the same level as Erev Rosh Hashanah going into sukkahs? Erev Rosh Hashanah going into
But on the same level of
on the same level of hashgacha, yeah. Would you say, or you think it's Rosh Hashanah was a higher level?
Well, we had a different sushtel also. We had a different sushtel, which has to do with tonight also. But definitely, I think huts, yeah.
Crazy
I
thing.
I don't know
right?
if it's a Rosh Hashanah. You can't beat Rosh Hashanah.
No, you can't make it up. It's crazy.
Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So Tana Rabban, and this also has to do, like we said yesterday. This also has to do, at least for those amongst us who shake the lulav like the Arizal. So this Gemara right here has to do with sukkahs, right? Because the Arizal says you shake it north, south, east, west, up, down, right? So is it north, south, east, west? Should you be facing in that direction or should you not?
Doesn't Nusach Sfar do it that way?
That's what I'm saying. Arizal, yeah. Ashkenazim have to be everything Masudar. So everything has to go in the right order: straight, right, backwards, left, up, down. We got to have everything very, very straight. Otherwise, what I mean. The Arizal, you can already play around. Okay, so Tana Rabban. Hamarabeya Seir. We get into some math over here. Actually, a lot of math over here.
We had it yesterday, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of math today too. So Tana Rabban. Hamarabeya Seir. If you're squaring off the city, Nun Vav Amud Beis, the top line. Yeah, so Tana Rabban Hamarabeya. There's not as many charts in this Gemara as there was in the other daf, but there's a lot here. Tana Rabban Hamarabeya Seir. If you're squaring off the city. I'm saying from the Gemara part, not the art school. Yeah. If you were squaring off the city, what Masechta you got there, boy?
It's the wrong Masechta.
That's Erchin, not Eruvin. Yeah, okay.
It's close. It's not Baba Kama.
I guess if you just survive BB shooting, so then it's good enough.
Good enough.
Okay, so anyways, Tarabban, Hamarabeya Seir, right? If you square off the city, what you do is you make it a square. Right? So that's the first part is very simple. We know that. You have a circle city, you make it into a square. And then you go, and then the techum also gets a square. And then you make the techum like a square also. Now we're going to get into this, how exactly this works. Yeah, if I'm going to the country, Bez Hashem, tomorrow, and then there's a picture there of all the techum, like where they are, which explains this concept very much. But I'm going to be a day too late on it. But hopefully I'll remember to take a picture. So Kushumayde, lo yibden me emtza keren al fayim amma. Now when you're measuring, you don't measure from the corner 2,000 Amos. Because then you're going to lose the corners. You bring a square that's 2,000 by 2,000, and you put it on the corner, right, diagonally. Arba Meas Amos Lakan, Barba Meas Lakan, you're going to gain 400 Amos this way, 400 Amos that way. Nimtu Tchumen Mistakran Ches Meas Amos Lakan, Ushmoina Meas Lakan, and you're going to gain 800 this way and 800 that way. Yeah, Nimtu, what's the final cheshbon? Nimtu Air V'Tchumen Mistakran Elef U'Masayim Lakan, V'Elef U'Masayim Lakan, you're going to gain 1,200 this way, 1,200 that way. And Amar Abayu Mishtakachas Lo B'Masa Dahavi Trei Alfi Atrei Alfi. You're talking about a city that has 2,000 Amos by 2,000 Amos. Okay, so I had my kid, which he didn't finish the job, but that's okay because he's 7. But my son and my nephew, Peretz's kid, so they were doing this. They made a Lego for me here, right? So basically, there it goes. I just busted the whole thing. Anyways, basically. Very quickly, hold on, I'm sorry. I hope I can explain this correctly. It's really not that difficult once you get it. So let's say you have this city, right? So this city right here is 2,000 Amos, right? This is a 2,000 Amos by 2,000 Amos city. That's what Abai is saying. Now, how do you measure? Now, you l'chayra, you get 2,000 Amos this way, right? You're going to measure the techum, right? Let the city's round. We made it square, right? Now you're going to measure out the techum.
Each round
you make it square. You square it off. So you gain that way, which we'll get to soon also.
And then you make 2,000.
Now you have to, now. So you would think, so you make 2,000 Amos from here, right? And then you square it off again, right? So basically what you do, that's what it's saying. That was the 2 lines in the Gemara at the top. You first square off the city, then you make the techum, and then you draw a square around the techum, right? So then basically what you're going to have is this, and then square, meaning you're squaring it off twice, which gains you a lot of Amos, right? much more than 2,000.
But the guys on the corners are getting have a different length than the guys on the sides.
What?
Then the guys.
What are you
on
saying?
You say, if I'm not mistaken, the guys on the corners have a different size, have a different amount of Amos than the guys on the sides.
Exactly. That's exactly the issue. Very good. So if you're going to do it this way, you're going to lose out. So what the Gemara is saying to do is to take a square and put it here. 2,000 Amos, you put it this way. You hear it is much different, right? If you take 2,000 Amos, go this way, it's not going to go out nearly as far. What you do is you take a square of 2,000 Amos by 2,000 Amos and you place it here, and then here, and then here, and then here.
But how are you helping the guys in the corners?
Why?
The guys in the corners still have more room.
What do you mean?
The guys in the corners of the city still have a lot more room.
They're gonna yes, they're gonna have a lot more room, but then everybody gets that room because then you draw the square around that outside.
No, the guy on the side has 2,000 Amos. The guy in the corner
right. So the guy on the outside is
going
gonna get a little bit more, but the bottom line is everybody. If you do it this way, everybody's going to gain. Why you do it this way?
Yeah, why do we allow this?
I'm not sure. I'm not. Why we do it this way?
Because.
No, because we want everyone to have a little more walking room.
Basically, yeah. Well, you know what comes out? I know. I forgot. I'm in trouble because Reb Shmuel Grossman called me about this 2 days before Sukkot. I told him I'm calling him right back, and I totally forgot about it.
Well, because he told me to ask you, and I forgot to ask you.
Okay, so there we go. No, now I've got every day, and then I keep forgetting to call him. I'm done.
He asked me to ask you that day, and I forgot.
I'm cooked. When I'm gonna call him, I'm gonna have to put it on mute. I don't know if he's gonna whatever.
Reb Yaakov, excuse me. I just want to say one thing. Then I'm not going to say anything. Anybody like yourself who's involved with Eruv and who makes Eruv is making a big mistake. If you could think you can get any kind of rishus on any city other than from the Russia, Marussia, Cuomo, anything you do with a police captain, with a post office guy, it means nothing in this state. So you're all fooling yourself. None of the Arabs are good. I'm sorry to say that none of them good because only this Russia could do what he wants in the state. Nobody else has the power to do anything. So all the Arabs are wrong, and the Eden are carrying on Shabbos because you can't. Nobody has power except for him. And you're making Eruvin with people who have absolutely zero power. You can make Eruv for me. Buy me a bottle of schnapps, and I'll tell you have an Eruv. Big deal.
All right, tell us really what you think, Aaron. All right, tell us what you really think.
Okay, Reb Aaron, what do you want us to buy you, no?
We should all sell our house and move,
Aaron, what I want is this Russia Marussia should have a Misa Mishna. That's what I want. A Russia, you should have a Misa Mishna.
Can we please delete this?
Anyways, you're
on. What does it mean that the guy in the corner has more space? What does that mean?
Thank you for that commercial.
Is this being recorded?
Diagonally across a square is always more length than each of its sides.
But everybody has. But I can go from the opposite corner. I can go from the opposite corner and walk to the other corner. That doesn't. I mean,
but meaning the point is that if you're going to calculate it this way, right? If you're going to calculate it just this way, 2,000 Amos, and then square it off, you're not going to gain nearly as much as if you do this.
But that's for everybody. That's not for one guy. That's for everybody.
That's for everybody.
No, Elio mentioned that the guy in the corner.
Because the guy in the corner is still getting extra footage.
The guy in the corner is going to get extra footage.
If you go that direction, but if you go the other direction, then he doesn't have more footage.
Right.
What do you mean?
You're right. The guy's going to get extra footage.
It's only in one direction he's getting more footage. It's not.
Yes.
I mean, it's
right. Yeah. But why not? I don't understand. Why did they could
This isn't communism, okay? Like, not everything is everything. You know,
first of all, getting back to Reb Aaron.
Location.
It is communism, okay? But first of all, saying the Gemara is not communism.
Why wouldn't they just make an octagon and then you wouldn't have any of these questions?
No, because we square it off for uniformity.
Don't live in a circle. You also don't have these questions. What do you mean?
Or don't try to fit a square into a circle into a square. That's a different issue. Okay, but that's a good reason that schools are going to be closed. But we're not going.
Square peg round hole.
No, but why it does it that way? I'm not sure. Did anybody come across why we cheshvan it that way? It seems that the Gemara is very determined. Is this what Shmuel Grossman wanted?
I think he just wanted to know the 2,800 at the time, this was a while ago, the 2800, is that in every direction, not just on the angles. It's on the sides also.
That's what Eliyahu's asking. That's what
Right.
Eliyahu. That's what Eliyahu.
Right. That's what. But this was before it was so complex. This was a week ago.
I
I
was
don't
wondering
really
why it was.
understand.
Okay, I was wondering.
Got a
why-
lot more complex since then.
Didn't we
Yeah.
have this already?
We had this a little bit.
Square,
Yes,
square
yes, that's what we're talking about.
We have that already.
Okay, but as long as we get it clear what the Gemara is
I
saying
don't
by
understand.
doing
Why-
this.
Why are you switching from that piece that's over here? Why?
No,
and all
there
of those
because
square?
there no
What was the
because we
problem with
always
that?
square everything off.
We square it
I
off.
just
So you
don't
come like this.
understand why we
You said
say
2,000
2,000
amos
amos when it's just
and now
not
you
so simple.
square it off. What's the problem with that?
Nothing. There's no problem with
So
that.
why
That's
did
the
the
same
Gemara
question.
switch to this?
Because the Gemara is saying that for whatever reason we're saying that is not the way you do it. I think the way I understood is because when you do 2,000 amos this way, you're shortchanging everybody on the side. That's what I think.
But you're still changing everyone.
No, you're
Same
not.
amount.
No, but at least they're getting their 2,000 amos.
Why are you
If you're
shortchanging
measuring this 2,000 amos,
Oh,
right, and then
so
you
you're
square
saying-
it
you're saying-
down,
you're saying
this guy is
he's
not going to
get
have.
2,000
Correct,
amos.
correct. He's going to lose out a lot.
Lose out. Okay.
So Mamelo, since we want this guy to have
So why'd you
2,000
do it like
amos,
this?
then this guy, then the
So
corner
why'd you
guy
do-
benefits.
Why'd you do this 2,000 amos?
What?
Like this, 2,000 amos and square it off.
Why don't you just square it off to 2,000 amos that way?
Yeah.
Because then what's going to happen with the corners? How you
He's going to
measuring
get
the corner?
2,000 amos. He's not going to get
What?
more.
He's going to get.
He's not going to lose.
Well, that's essentially what's going to happen here.
Except you're getting much more.
You're getting a little bit more. But anyways, but bottom line is we transfer this whole thing. What does the Gemara say? You end up with 1,200 extra amos, right? That's what the Gemara is saying?
Yeah.
All it's going to say
Right,
is you get
1,200.
2,000 amos.
You end up with 1,200 extra amos to walk.
So you get 1,428 on the sides.
Correct.
That's
So you're
all.
losing out 500.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what we're doing. Yeah? Fine. Okay, so now, by doing Gemara. Yeah, so that's the way we do it with the cheshbon of that. Now we go, now we go to Orei Levium, right? So just to chazer. So the reason why we know the 2,000 amos comes from the Orei Miklat, right? Which had 2,000 amos outside the Orei Miklat, which we calculate the same way with the 2,000s, right? But the Orei Miklat was broken up. The first 1,000 amos around the Orei Miklat was uninhabited land. You couldn't do anything with it. It was just no man's land. And then after that 1,000 amos, that's when they could cultivate it and do that type of thing. So now, Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yossi, yeah? Tanya, Amar Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yossi. Techum Orei Levium Alfayim Amma. Right? The techum of the cities of the Levium is 2,000 amos, right in the middle of the Amud. Tzemilan Elef Amma Migrash. So you take away 1,000 amos for the Migrash, that's the uncultivated land. Nimtza Migrash Revia. So then you see that the open area is a quarter. Bashar Sadar Sakramim. And the rest of it is fields and vineyards. Right? So what we're saying is that the Migrash is going to be a quarter, and the rest is going to be Sadar. Now, what does this mean? From the wall of the city, you get 1,000 amos around it. Surround the city with 1,000. Nimtza Migrash Revia. Now, what does it mean? You find that the Migrash is a quarter. What does that mean? A quarter of what? Okay, now we get into some serious math. Not complicated math, but math nonetheless, right? Revia, is it really a Revia? Is it a quarter? Palgahavi, it's a half. The Migrash, again, there's 2,000 amos, of which the Migrash is 1,000, and then after that's another 1,000. So what are you saying that it's a quarter? Then so what do you mean it's a quarter? It's a half, right? A half of 2,000. 1,000 amos is a half of 2,000. Amar Rabba Bar Ada, Amar Rabba Ada, B'Shaycha, hold on a second.
It's Amar Rava Bar Adam Mishocha.
Sorry, what do you say?
It's Amar Rava Bar Adam Mishocha.
No, I think it's
Amar Rava. Rava said.
Amar Rava
Bar
Bar
Ada
Ada
Mishocha.
Mishucha Bar Ada, the what do you call it? The measurer, right? That's it, right? Amar Rava Bar Ada Mishucha. Asbar Ali, he explained it to me. The measuring guy, right? That's what you do. You don't go to the rabbi for this. You go to the measuring guy, and he explains to you how this works. Yeah. Mishkachas la b'masa dahavi trei alfi trei alfi. So you find it by a city that has 2,000 amos by 2,000 amos. Techum kama havi. How much is the techum area? Right? Shitzar, it's 16. Now, what does that mean, 16? 16 million, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, 16 million square amos, which sounds like the size of the whole world, right? Oh, yeah. But it's really not, right? Because what do? You do 2,000. How does it go? Right, 2,000 each box. Going back to our good old box. This is 2,000 by 2,000, right? Hold on a second. One second. Let me switch it back over here. All right. So if this is your city, 2,000, right? This city is 2,000 by 2,000. Then you're going to take our boxes, right? Like we said before, right? And we're putting one on each corner. One there, one there, one there, and one there, right? So each one of those boxes is how much? 4 million square amos, right? Because it's 2,000 amos this way, 2,000 amos this way to match the city, right? So that's 16 million square amos. Yeah, meaning the way we calculate this thing, right? Kronos kamahavian. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I went out of order. What we meant by this way is here, right? With this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it really doesn't make a difference which way you calculate first. So because basically there's going to be 8 squares. So you have 16 million, right? 4 boxes of 2,000 amos by 2,000 amos. That's going to give you 16 million square amos. Kronos kamahavian shitzer.
Isn't it
how much
36 million?
What? No. 30.
Why isn't it 6,000
altogether? It's gonna be
times
32.
6,000? Right.
It'll be 32
times 6,000. All right.
6,000. No, it's 4 squares of 2,000 by 2,000, right? Doesn't that make 4, 8, 12, 16?
That's 16.
16.
But shouldn't it be 6 square? Isn't it 3 on the top, 3 on the sides, 3 on the bottom, right? Like 9 full squares? Isn't it 9 full squares?
No, it's going to be 8 squares. It's going to be here. Oh.
Extra, in addition to the original. It's extra.
Thank you.
Right,
There's going to be here. We're doing 1 square here. We're doing 1. This is the city, right? 2,000 amos for 2,000. Right. We're taking the equivalent, going this way, this way, this way, this way. That's 4, right? And then we're going to put 1 in the corner, 1 in this corner, 1 in this corner, 1 in this corner. So basically we have 8 squares, each one 2,000 by 2,000. So that makes us 32 million square amos, right? Dal timnaya de tchumen. Now take away 8 million amos for the tchum, right? Because each one gets 2,000. Ba'arba de kronos kamahavi. So what are you going to get? Right? I'm sorry, Ba'arba de kronos. And then you take away 4 million square amos of the corners. So kamahavi. Tracer, what are you going to have left? 12. You're going to have. So what's the left for the open area? Again, remember, we're talking about the Ari Levium, which 1,000 square amos is open field, and then the next 1,000 amos you can do whatever you want. Nimtza migrash revia, right? So therefore, I'm sorry, nimtza migrash revia. You're going to see that it's not a quarter. Tvei mitlasa, it's more than a third, right? Because if you have 8 left, right? I'm sorry, you're going to have 12 left. So 12 from 32 is more than a third even, right? 12, right? So why are you saying that it's only a quarter? So I see, so Gemara answers, I see arba de masa shadei. What you do is you take the 4 million square amos of the city, add it to 32. Now I think Binyamin, that's where you're getting it from. That's where you're getting 36. If you count the city with it, then you're getting 36. Right. Then from that, you make all the calculations. So the Gemara says, even so, akati tilsavi, it's a third, right? It's only a third. So Gemara says, misavas brivu kamar. Gemara says, are we talking about a square city? Bigulo kamar. No, we're talking about a round city. Kamaruba yeser ala ogel. Revia. How much more is a square more than a circle? So like we said, it's a quarter, right? We said it's 1 1.25 be'erach, right? That's when you take a circle and you put the square around it, it adds on a quarter. Dal revia minayu. If you subtract a quarter from it, right? Pashulahu, tisha, you have left over 9 million. The tisha mitlasim v'shisa revia, and 9 from 36, meaning including the city. Till now we were not including the city. Now we are including the city. 9 from 36 is a quarter. Okay, fine. So that's the basic calculation for that. Yeah. Abaye Omar Mishkachas Lanami b'Masad Havi Alpha b'Alpha. Abaye says no. You could also find it. We were assuming the case is talking about a city that goes 2,000 by 2,000. But Abaye says no. You could find the calculations if it's a city that's 1,000 by 1,000. Yeah. Because why? Techum and Kamahavi. How much is the techum? Timnaya. 8 million square amas, right? Kronos Kamahavi. Shetzar. How much is the corners? So that's 16. Now on Talmud Aleph. Dal Arba the Tchumen. Remove 4 million for Tchumen. Arba the Kronos and 4 million for the corners. Kamahavi. Timnaya. So you're going to be left with 8 million. Til Sahava. And that is, no, so I'm sorry. So then the Gemara says, even so, Til Sahava, it's still a third, right? You only get a third, right? 8 from 32. I'm sorry. Tilsa, it's 8. Right, how do you go? What's the calculation now? 8 subtracting from, it's not from 32 though, right? Because it's 1 million less, right? That's 8 million from, 1 second, what was that number? 12? No, that's 8. No, it's 8 from 24. No, it should be 8 from 20. Why is it, what's the kasha? It's 8 from 24. 8. Right, and then 16.
Yeah, which is a third.
I'm sorry, right? Very good, thank you. Right, 8 from 24 is a third. Very good. Yes, that's the kasha. Thank you. Okay, very good. So Gemara says Til Sahav, it's a third. So Gemara says Mi Savras Birubua Kamar Bigula Kamar. Are we talking about a square city? We're talking about a circle city. Kama Meruba Yeser Ala Ogel. And how much is a square bigger than a circle? Ravia. It's a quarter. So again, the same Gemara that we said just now. Da Ravia Pashulu Shisa. If you take a quarter away, then you're going to be left with 6. And a 6 from 24, right? 6, 12, 18, 24. So that's a quarter. Okay. When it says a quarter, it means the techum is a quarter, right? Right, meaning when you're going out from the corners, that's going to be a quarter. But it says saviv. How can you say it just means the corners? It says saviv all the way around. So what are you talking about? Just the corners? My saviv the kronos. What it means is around the corners. And the Gemara brings a very interesting proof from this. If you don't say this, gabi oila by the carbon oila disiv bizarko. It says that they throw the blood around the mizbeach. Right? Now, what does it mean around the mizbeach? Right? Does it mean that they go around the entire mizbeach? They don't do that. Right? What they basically do is they go on each corner. Right? What it means is they go around to each corner. They go around to each corner. Okay. Fine. So that's the bad. Okay, I think we got the basic gist of the calculations. I don't know. Pay attention to the names here because I don't know. It's interesting names. Excuse
me.
Yeah.
Isn't this many, many miles? 2 million amas? What are we talking about?
No, it's 2 million square amas.
So what does that mean?
Square means since it's 2,000 by 2,000, so the square amma, meaning you're basically chopping it. You're adding on. How does it go? 3/4 to it, right?
You're quadrupling it. You're quadrupling the number.
Yeah, you're quadrupling the number.
12 by 12 is 144 inches, right? That's a square foot, right? So that's what you're doing. Whatever one direction is, you're multiplying that number by 4, essentially.
Meaning, if you have a sukkah, let's talk sukkahs, right? So you have a sukkah that's 10 by 10. That's
it's 100 square. So it's 100 square
right,
feet.
So 100 square feet.
I'm saying you're going from 2,000 amos to 8,000 amos.
What?
You're going from 2,000 amos to how many amos?
You
going
just
from
multiply
2,000
it. If it's
to
2,000
30.
times
What is it?
2,000.
You're going. The techum were extend. Well, if a 2,000 amma square makes you 16 million square. I'm sorry. 4 million square ammas, right? But you still only have 2,000 ammas in each direction. The square of it makes it quadruple, right? Very good. It's quadruple. Then, because of all this corner shtick, we're taking a 2,000. Bottom line is we're making a 2,000 amma techum, and we're bouncing it up to 3,200. Right? That's what comes out. Anyways,
so it's
yeah.
like so it's a little more than a mile. Like this thing is what 5,700 feet, something like that.
Yeah, something like it's a little, it's less, but yeah, right. Okay, so then Amar le Rav Chavivi mechuzna le Rav Ashi, Vayika Mursha de Karnasa, but you have the corner of the city that sticks out, right? Meaning, when you're taking a city and you go and it's a circle in there, right? So now it is an interesting question. It took me a while to understand it, which doesn't mean I'm the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but it took me a while to. So you have a circle in here, right? The Ori Levium is a circle, right? If you just keep the circle, then you're going out 1,000 amas is no man's land where nobody's allowed to settle it, right? Now that you squared off the city, the Gemara is asking, aren't you now taking away the 1,000 part of that 1,000 amas of free land, right? That's basically the way I understand the Gemara's kasha. It's very nice you're adding on to the city, but you're taking away part of the 1,000 square amas, which the Gemara seems to give a pasha to teretz. But let's see, Va'ika Moshe the Karnasa. Correct. So when it says B'masa Igulsa, right? He's talking about in a case where it's a round city, right? I'm sorry. So it's talking about in a round city, right? So therefore, that's why he had this kasha. Then it says but you squared it, right? Since you're squaring the round city, you are going to be taking away from that no man's land. So Gemara says, now here we get into a very lumdisha answer. When do we say we look at it as if it's square? But do we actually make it square? We don't actually make it square. We look at it virtually as if it's square, but it's not actually square. So we're not taking anything away from the no man's land. Now here we're saying you don't look at the city that is actually a square city; it's a round city, right? But that's what we say. So Amar le Rav Chaniloi mechuzna le Rav Ashi. Right now, this is a different Amoira from the same city? Right? I thought it was just interesting. It's interesting, right? The first one was Rav Chavivi mechuzna le Rav Ashi, and this is Rav Chaniloi mechuzna. Well, it seems like the people from this city were ganging up on Rav Ashi.
They're both from Mechuzah.
Yeah, I'm saying it seems like he must have been traveling to Mechuzah or something, and they were asking him kashas or something like that. Like, what's the chances?
Right, it's like the guy on the team that they both grew up in the same neighborhood, and they're 40, 30, 25 years later, they're on the same team.
Correct, and they're both arguing with Rav Ashi. Right, exactly.
It's on the South Bend in Indiana. They're on that same street. That they went to the same school, grew up.
Right, exactly.
So the Gemara deal with the fact that the side, is it possible that the side that's uninhabited is also a karfef? It's not, or we dealt with that already?
No, you're right. It is. Well, we're going to deal with it now after this Mishnah. Always saying, if it's a karfef,
meaning like, does that impede the fact that you're going to put it inside the techum? But that's only for Eruv that it matters.
Oh, you mean, does it matter for the Ori Levium?
Yeah. Meaning if you're going to say it's uninhabited land, it's a karfef, essentially, right? So then, for an Eruv, it might be a problem. But what about for techum? Does it wind up being a problem?
I hear. I think it's all part of it. I think so. I think it would be
it's okay
there
to
too.
walk there. It's okay to walk there, even though it's uninhabited, but you can't make an Eruv out of that area. It's uninhabited. It's uninhabited. That means it's a karfef, right? That's right. So you can't make an Eruv out of that.
You're talking about an Eruv chatzeros, not
Eruv chatzeros. Yeah. Eruv chatzeros. I'm saying the fact you can't make an Eruv chatzeros is that. Does one have to do with the other?
Oh, you're saying out that? Yeah, I didn't understand what you're saying. Yeah, l'chari, you're right. I would think so. Yeah, very good. So now we get to the basic math of it. How much more is a square than a circle, right? Revia. So we say it's a quarter, right? Meaning it's going to be 1/4 bigger, right? When you expand the circle to a square, it's going to be 25% bigger. So Gemara says, Hani timni meya. Does it come up to 800? Shis meya v'shisin v'sheva nechi tilsahavi. It comes out to 667 minus a third, right? Meaning if you take something that's 2,000 amas, and then you add on a quarter to that, so how much is it? It's not 800, right? It's less than that. Oh, so Amarle said, Hani mini bigula mi gavribua. Yeah, that's true. The quarter ratio is true when you're taking a circle inside a square. But when you want to add on the area of a square, you want to know how much bigger the corners are, then you need more. Damar mar kol amsa beribua any amma. When you square it off, is amsa v'trechum shebalachsaina. It's 1 2/5 on its diagonal, right? Which we already discussed, right? When we said that you're allowed to carry dalet amas, right? And then a person outside of his techum gets dalet amas. We said you square it off, so it's really 5. You're adding on 2/5 more, right? So therefore, it's really dalet amas is never dalet amas. It's always a lot more. So the same thing here. That's what it is. Okay, fine. Yeah, so Zok the Mishnah. Yeah, this Mishnah we had yesterday. Nice and karfef le'ir. Every city gets a karfef, right? So Gershon, you asked yesterday, what's a pshat, right? So we'll see the Gemara, but nice and karfef le'ir. Every city gets a karfef. Again, how much is a karfef? It's a buffer zone of 70 amas. Before you start calculating the 2,000 amas, you get a buffer of 70 amas. That's what R Meir holds. You don't, meaning R Meir holds every city gets 70 amas. So now, in addition to what we just said, all those extra amas that you're getting because of this whole corner shtick, you also get 70 amas before you even start calculating the 2,000. That's sheet of R Meir. No. You only say a karfef in between two cities. And if you have this one has 70 and change, and this city has 70 and change, then what you do is the karfef will attach them to be one. Otherwise, you don't give it. Meaning,
well, that's not what we said yesterday.
It's a machlokes. It's a machlokes. The mayor holds you always give 70 amas to a city, and the chachamim say no, you don't. The only time you give 70 amas to a city is in order to connect two cities. Lamashal, and we'll get to this.
We had 141 yesterday.
Right, that's what it's saying. Right.
But that's according to both.
No. Well, R Meir for sure, because every city gets it.
Right.
Chachamim say only in that case.
Only in that.
Lamashal, because this is going to come up later in the daf. Us with Atlantic Beach, right? Common question. Is Atlantic Beach? Only reason I'm asking Atlantic Beach, saying Atlantic Beach, is because there's water in between us, right? But I'm saying Far Rockaway, Lawrence, Bayswater, Inwood, that's all straight houses. Those are all looked at as, even though they're different cities, right? But we all look at it like it's one big, city because there's never any space. Even though legally it's a different city, but we don't care about the legal, right? Right now, we're not caring about the legalities. Right, but what about us with Atlantic Beach? So the chachamim is saying that if you add 70 amas to the last house in Atlantic Beach and 70 amas to the last house in Far Rockaway, and those so there's a space of less than 141 2/3 amas in between, then Atlantic Beach and Far Rockaway are going to be one city, and we wouldn't start our techum till after Atlantic Beach, Long Beach, whatever. Then we connect that all. Right? That's the only time you connect. But if Stam...
Yaakov, somebody said a good svara. What about that? There's always somebody living in the bridge. The guy in the center.
Where?
In the booth. In the booth.
In the booth? So that's what... So Shmuley Sugar...
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Is he always living there? Someone's always living there?
No, so Shmuley Sugar claims the guy is not always living. There's not always somebody there. They have to call up, make an appointment, and he comes.
No. The boats go and they call and they wake him up.
Is that what it is? Okay, Shmuley understood it. Okay, so that might change things, Taka. That might change things.
Yeah, but if they keep adding on to this techum, then don't you have to be a real psycho to actually walk more than a techum? on Shabbos. It's like miles and miles. You have to like walk over a marathon. It's ridiculous.
Yes, clearly the chachamim wanted us walking. That's clear.
Exactly. They said yesterday it was walking the hills weren't good.
Hills. It doesn't say hills. It doesn't say hills.
Big enough bridge wouldn't be good.
You're muted about it.
You shouldn't walk hills, but they said you should walk.
Hills, that's right. It's short and flat land. Sure. Anyways, so again, let's just make it clear. The chachamim say the only time you give 70 amos to each city is when you want to bridge the two cities. No pun intended. You want to So you want to bridge them, and then you make them to one big city. Otherwise, you don't give 70 amos. Yeah.
Are you doing the 70 amos on all sides? Because then you're really extending this.
Yes.
Right?
You're doing it on all sides.
Do you first square it and then add the 72 thirds, or do you, from each little jot goes the 70?
No, we always do everything as a square.
You square.
We always do everything as a square. So you do the 70 and then you square.
Okay.
As far as I remember, that's what you do.
The 70 from every jutted out point.
Yeah.
Right? And then square.
And then the furthest house gets the square. That's where you square up from the furthest house.
Yeah, but it doesn't add to the 2,000 amos.
It does not add to the two. Well, it'll start you 2,000 amos further out.
It starts it, but I'm saying you don't get 2,071. You're gonna get seven.
Well, you're gonna get the 70 first, and then you're squaring, and then you're gonna get 2,000. So essentially, you might be getting 70, depending on where you're coming from in the city. But yeah, theoretically, you could get it. Theoretically, yes. V'chein gimel. Then this next thing is a wild chiddush. V'chein. The Mishna doesn't explain it. The Gemara explains it. Lamo v'chein gimel kfarim, 3 towns, hamashulashin, that are in thirds. If between the two, this is a triangle cities. These are 3 cities made out of a triangle. Yeah. So im yesh ben shnayim achitzayin meya v'arbaim v'achas v'shlish asa emtzayis shoshnan liyas echad. We're going to leave it for the Gemara. Essentially, it's a triangle. If between the two, let's say you have 2 cities on the bottom, 1 city in the middle, right? So if in between the 2 outer cities is less than 141 amos, then it's going to take the 3rd city and drop it down into the middle. We have to see the Gemara before to understand this. Okay.
When the NBA started, there was a franchise called the Tri-Cities, and it was 3 small cities that were in a franchise. Yeah.
Right. Where was that?
In the early 50s. Yeah.
I'm saying I remember where.
I don't. Someplace in
the Gemara was mechaven to them. The Gemara was mechaven to them.
Yeah. That's 100%. Okay. So the Zakti Gemara, how do you know that you give a karfef to a city? Right, Gershon, this is what you're asking. Seems like it's a Gzeres HaKosef, right? Amar Ravad, Amar Kram, Mikira Ir v'chutza. Right, it says from the wall of the city and outside. Amar Torah 10 chutza v'achar kach modud. Give it a chutz and then measure. Okay, so that's where it comes from. That's the makar that you give every city a little bit of an outside, and then you give it its measurements. 2,000 amos. Okay.
When do you add the dollar amos?
Dollar amos is just every human being gets dollar amos. That's just a metzias that every human takes up 4 amos.
And then 2004.
Correct, and then 70, and then another 1,200.
Right. So when do you add the 4? And then
I don't know why they don't want to believe in Torah Shabbat Ped. It's a dokum.
You can walk to China.
As Leibish Bada says, on the invisible 10.
There you go. Right. Invisible 10.
So basically, you have the 2,000 plus 4 plus 70 plus a diagonal.
Yes, exactly right. Couldn't have said it better than that. 100%.
How do you get from the word chutza to 70? Is that suffix minus ches, vav, and hey?
Oh, is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
That. I didn't think that, but that's a good word.
71.
Chutza. I don't know.
You take the outskirts of the word chutza and minus it from the 90.
Right, so 71,
right, you're right, but Rashi says
by 1, so it's okay.
There you go.
Right.
That's
Rashi is a little less fancy than you. I hear. Very good. But Rashi's a little less fancy. He says karfef. Chutza means a karfef. Right? So what's a minimum amount of land that's like a no man's land? That would be a karfef. I guess that's what That's the way Rashi understands it. Because a karfef is, right, what karfef will always saying is that's the amount of land that you need that's considered uninhabitable. That's the minimum amount. Okay. Right? The chachamim say we only say this shtick in order to connect the two cities. But we don't give it regularly to a city. But now we have a machlokes in the chachamim. Itmar. Rav Huna Amar, nice and karfef lezu, karfef lezu. We give a karfef to each one. Right? Meaning you give 70 to each city. Here, we'll go back to the videotape over here. Right? So again, we got 3 cities, which we'll get back to in a minute. That's the other case. Let's eliminate that case here. You got 2 cities, right? Assuming that this would be, well, let's move it out a little bit. Let's say this brown thing is 70. So the chachamim say the only time you give 70 amos to a city is if the 70 from here and 70 from here will make it connected. So now, is it 70 that it has to be, or does each city get 70, right? Meaning, is it 140 that we give leeway to connect the 2 cities, or only 70, right? Yeah, you got the kasha? Meaning it's saying you give a karfef to the city. Does that mean 1 karfef to both cities, 70 amos to both cities, or do you double it and say, no, this city gets 70, and this city gets 70? So that we have a machlokes. Yeah? What's going on here? Yeah. So, Rav Huna Amar nice and karfef lezu, you give a karfef to each one. So each city gets 70, which enables you to have 141 amos in between the 2 cities in order to combine them. Chia barav Amar, karfef echad l'shtein, you give 1 karfef to both. So Tanam chachamim ma'imrim, lo yamru karfef ela bein beis hayoros. It says we don't give a karfef only between 2 cities. Tiyuf to the Rav Huna, that seems to be a kasha to Rav Huna, because it says you give 1 karfef to 2 cities. Right? It doesn't say 2 karfef to 2 cities. Rav Huna, my karfef, toiris karfef. It means the concept of karfef. Ula'ilem karfef lezu, karfef lezu. And what it means is each one gets a karfef. I mean, you give the concept of extending a no man's land of a city, we give to 2 cities, and it means you give 1 karfef to each.
So it's 2 karfefs.
Correct.
140. Well, according to one, you just said you get 70 on it.
Right, so we asked the kash on him, and we're answering, no, it means the concept of karfef,
So
but each one gets 2.
You get 140.
No, still a machlokes. We're just answering it according to him. Let's see, 1 second. Hachanam mistaver, that's also mistaver. Niktani say from yesh lezu ayinam v'shirayim v'lezu ayinam v'shirayim oisa karfef l'shtein. If each one has 70 amos and change, and 70 amos and change, you give a karfef to each one of them. Liyos echad to their 1 city. So clearly, that's what the chachamim said. So Shema Minah, you see from the Mishna, it's very clear that you're giving 70 amos to each city, not just 170 amos in between the 2 cities. So then the Gemara says, okay, then that's the case. That's a kasha and Chia Barav, who says you only get 1 karfef in the middle. So I'm Chia Barav, and I want to tell my base. Money, R Meir, no, that's going according to R Meir, who says you get 1 karfef.
But that's each city, according to R Meir.
What? That's what he's saying.
What's that? R Meir said what city standing by itself gets.
Correct, but now he's saying if it's between 2 cities, he's going to get 2.
He's going to get 2, not 1.
Yes. So R Meir, Hatani l'reisha. If it's R Meir, the reisha said nice and karfef le'ir. You give a karfef to each city. Divrei Reb Meir, so he already said it. So Tzrich Gemara says no, you need both. Yeah. If it's from there, you would think that you give 1 karfef to 1 city and 2 to 2 cities, right? Right, and there's no difference between the cities. Right? You give to 2 cities, you give 2 karfefs. Right? Did I explain that right? Look, see? We do chad l'chada and chad l'tarti. I'm sorry, I explained it. I did explain it wrong. If it would just say the first case, we would think R Meir holds you only give 70 amos to a city. Whether it's 1 city, 2 cities, you give it just 70 amos. Kamash malan to the tarti treya v'inalu. The 2 cities, you give 2 karfefs. And if it would say here, right, that 2 karfefs combine a city, that's because it's a doichik to use it, because you're limiting, you're using a space in between 2 cities. But in a regular city, where you're not pushing everything into those 70 amos, because you have plenty of room outside of that city. Yeah. Same Allah, you would say maybe you don't have to give 70 Amos because you have so much room to work. You don't have to give a specific 70 Amos to that city. So tzricha, that's when you need it. Fine. Okay, Tanan. So now we start with the 3 cities. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah. 3 cities that are mashulish. Right? So now we're going to ask a pasha the kasha. Now going to back to our video over here. I hope it's not too late already. But anyways, you have 3 cities, right? One here, right? One here, right? So we're saying, and this thing again, this brown represents 70 Amos. So we're saying, if you have a city over here, so if between this city and this city is less than 141, right? Then we say that this middle city comes in and is connected virtually, and therefore you can all these cities are connected together, right?
Doesn't matter how high that white city is.
Oh, very good. That's going to be the Gemara's kasha. Now, how far can this city be? Can this city be in the other end of the world? Right? Meaning, again, if there's a city stuck in the middle between these two, as long as there's less than 141 hours between these two, we're going to connect this city way out here down to here. Right? That's what Gemara is saying. So let's see again. So Tanan, v'chein shloisha kfarim hamashulashin, 3 cities, the 2 outer ones, yeah?
So you're saying every time there's 2 cities, mainly this happens because there's always a 3rd city someplace.
So that's going to be right. Let's
in Buda and Pest and in Visions and Sigit and Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Yeah, how does it make sense?
Okay, so we're going to have to see. Let's wait to the Nagor's next kasha, and hopefully it'll get clear. But you're right. Right, so again, Tanan, v'chein shloisha kfarim hamushulashim, yesh bein shnayim hachitzayim. That's the 2 blue. The 2 blue ones are the outer ones. Right? Meya v'arboim v'achas amma ushlish, 141 and a third amma. Oisem tzoy es shloshton, the middle one will make all 3 liyos echad. That'll make into 1 city. Now again, just to make sure we're all on the same page. What it means by making into 1 city is that if a guy is here in this city, right? And he wants to go to a city like way over here by these cups, his 2,000 amas doesn't start until here because this is all 1 big city. And the same thing, a guy over here, his 2,000 amas doesn't start until here. You get it, Mama? Okay, so what the kasha is that it's mashim here, that's only with the emtzai. But if you only have these 2, then it's not going to combine the 2 cities. Oh, we just said that the 70 Amos will combine these 2 cities. I mean, again, the Gemara seems to be saying that only when there's a 3rd city in the middle will this combine these 2 if there's less than 141. Right? That's mashma like Chia Barav. Right? Because he said you only get 70 Amos. If there's no middle one, then lai. So Tiyufta de Rav Huna, that's a kasha Rav Huna. Amar Rav Huna, ha'itmar Allah, Amar Rav Idi, Amar Rav Chanina, lai mishulashin mamish, right? It doesn't mean mishulashin mamish. Ella royin kol she'ilu matal emtzai beineim, right? We look at it as if we put the middle one in between them, right? V'yu mishulashin, and then there will be a 3rd. And there's no 141 and a third. We're going to make the emsai to be 1. Truth is, I'm sorry, I explained it. That seems like the Gemara's Havamina. There's no difference in the Maskana of the Gemara, the way we just said it. In the Gemara's Havamina, this city was in the middle. It was 3 cities with 70 between this and 70 between this. So then the kasha was 70 between here, 70 between here. If you take this away, it's mashma. If there's 70 and 70 here, you wouldn't be able to combine it, right? That's the Gemara saying. So the Gemara saying, no. Of course you would combine it. It's talking about this of what we originally said. Okay, I mean that's what the Havamina was in the Maskana. This is what's going on. Yeah. So again, Amar le Rav Labaya Kama Yehe Ben Chitzel Emtzai. That's very nice that you do this shtick to combine all 3. But how far can this thing be away, right? So he says it can only be 2,000 amas. You can't have this in the middle of no man's land like you were asking, right? You can't have this forever. So you only get 2,000 amas. Va'atu da Amrid Kavasei the Rava Braid the Rabba Barav Huna. But you said like Rava Braid the Rabba Barav Huna Mistavra the Amar Yosem Alfayim Amma. He said that it can even be more than Alfayim Amma, meaning going back to the case of the bow that we had yesterday, right? So we said that it's Mistavra that from the bow, right? Remember, we said the bow, you get 2,000 Amos. I'm going to keep making with my eyes and nobody can see, right? Saying when you have the bow, the case of the bow, right? So we said you have the bow right here. This is the city. And then we count the techum from here. So we said, how far can distance be, right? There's no houses in the middle. There's houses all around here. And then we count the techum from here. But how far can go between here and the house in the middle houses? And they say it could even be more than 2,000. So I was asking, didn't you say it could be more than 2,000? Right? So the Gemara answers. So then why shouldn't, in our case also, with the two cities in the third further down, why can't it be, right, more than 2,000? Right? Over there, there's houses. There's no houses. Right? Meaning by the bow, there's at least houses all around. Here, there's no houses. How much can be in between the outside one to the outside one? Right? So he says, well, how much should it be? What's the difference? So he says, what's the difference to you? How much space is the difference? The rule is, if you're able to put the middle one in the middle, right? Like that. And between here and here, there's less than 141. So the Gemara says, I'm sorry, it's a question. Even more than 4,000 amas, he said yes. So according to this shita, Taka, this thing could be way, way out. This middle city could be way, way out. Oh, so the Gemara says, if there's in between, again, going back to, right, you have the bow, the city's shaped like a bow. If in between it's less than 4,000 amas, meaning from one end to the other end, right? I'm sorry, you count it from the bow, from the line, the imaginary line that Shomvim Lav, and if not, you count from the bow. So how come here he's saying more than 4,000? There by the bow, right? So now we need this again. Hold on. Again, it's a little complicated. It's not so complicated. By the bow, right? If you're going to give the techum, If you're going to give the techum, hold on, from here, right? So you have the bow, the city that's a bow, right? If you're going to give it, it's not clear. Yeah, hold it a little bit, please. Yeah. If you're going to count it, the techum from here, then you're going to lose out this way. I mean, you can't count your techum 2,000 that way and 2,000 that way. Where are the houses? You know what I mean? So Gemara is saying, in this situation, since this house is all the way over there, you can't say you go 2,000 amas that way, and then also you can get 2,000 amas the other way. That you can't do. But by the three cities, okay, that's enough. But by the three city, you can, because all we're doing is combining the cities. Fine. Okay, so I'm going to let him stop with Rava. Hare B'nai. Now this next Gemara gets into where Atlantic Beach. This sounds almost exactly like Atlantic Beach. I'm going to let him stop with Rava. Hare B'nai Ikstafon. That's the name of a city. The Mashchina Lutchuma Mehai Gisa de Ardashir. There were two cities, right? One here. This is Ardashir, and this is what it called. And they were close to each other, and we count the techum for each one of them from the other one, right? Meaning the techum from this city doesn't start here; it starts here, and the city from here starts here, right? Right? So Gemara says, "Ha ikod dagelis the mafsekas yesim me'er abayim v'achas l'shlish." You have the what's the name of that river? The Tigris, right? The Tigris. The Tigris River. We had it before, right? That's wider than 141 amos that separates these two cities. When you got a river, here it is blue. Well, that's also blue. Okay, this is purple. Purple, blue, right? This would be the river, right? Going through the city. And we know that this river is wider than 141. Basically, sort of like the crossing Atlantic Beach Bridge, right? How can you say that Atlantic Beach and Far Rockaway is the same techum if you have this bridge that's bigger than 141 amos, which, by the way, the water in between Atlantic Beach and Far Rockaway is definitely more than 140, more than 300 feet. It's more than 300 feet, right? So it seems like the Gemara is it's not more than 300 feet.
If you walk the
No,
bridge, it doesn't feel that long.
all right, tomorrow
A lot more
Chalamaya
than
trip.
300.
Tomorrow Chalamaya trip. Somebody's going over there, right? Those that are not in quarantine, just.
What does that mean? How are you going to tell? What are you going to
walk? You could walk it and count your feet. Whether you have to make a cheshire with the hills.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
fella,
coming
you
up.
got big feet. That's all you could walk.
Or you have a bicycle.
you don't have to make.
Use
You gotta
one of
take
the
a
apps to see how far it is.
310-inch tape measure.
Naftali
That's
Weiner
what-
will give you a
that's
whole
all
day
done.
to figure it out.
Okay, whatever it is, but the point is that it sounds like the Gemara seems to be saying that you can calculate Atlantic Beach from Far Rockaway and Far Rockaway from Atlantic Beach. And the Gemara said, what do you mean? You got water in between that's more than 141 amos. How can you connect two cities, right? Yeah. So the Gemara says, no.
It's 1,100 feet. 1,100
Okay,
feet.
in this case-
What, you Googled that?
1173. I Googled it. 1173.
That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick. Okay. 1,100 feet. I wouldn't think it's that far.
Now, what's
Wow.
Liner doing tomorrow?
It says
Okay,
one.
now we're going to have to go shoot BBs, I guess.
He's testing it to see if it's true.
1 second. Didn't we say that that's part of the because it's squared off?
Oh, cool. That's what that we'll get to a different story.
We're not getting into this.
We're not dealing with that part right now. So clearly, if it's 1,000, if Taka it's true 1,000 feet. If it's more than 300 feet, l'chayr, you can't carry from one city to the next. It's not in the techum. So when it says nafak achvilo, he says, I'm going to go out and show this to you. Which Aaron Kaplan might Taka be that the guy in the toll booth might help. Hanoch. The Gemara says, Hanoch atmahaset deshura. There were parts of the wall. It seems like there were walls. The river overran. I guess they had global warming back then too, right? And the river overran some of the walls of the cities. So therefore, there was really buried under the water were buildings. Yeah, Hanoch atmahaset deshura demivli b'dageles b'ayin avashirayim. If you count these structures that were these buildings that are inside the water, that used to be there before this river, before the Tigris River overran these cities, then you would see that the cities Taka did overlap by 141, and therefore that's why we can count. That's why we could count them as one city. Now, what with Far Rockaway, the way my father said is that if you square off the cities, then the squares overlap each other, which we have not gotten to yet. How can you do that? Right now, we've just discussed that the 70 amos from one city overlaps the 70 amos from the other city. That works for sure. But what happens when we said you square off the city? If the two squares overlap, that's already a much bigger chiddush to say that works.
Yaakov, fake news from Shmuel David, fake news. He didn't answer your question. Shmuel David, it's embarrassing.
Is he still on?
I'm still on. I didn't fall asleep yet.
It's embarrassing. You wrote, how long is the Atlantic Beach Bridge? That doesn't mean you want to know how far the water is, not how big the bridge is. Please, come on.
You want me to go out in the middle of the shear and measure it?
It's not the same question. It's
You're the closest one. No.
One second. Do we need to calculate high tide or low tide?
No,
That's true.
It's 1 second. Point, it's not true. Rabbi Horowitz happens to be right because the water doesn't start till halfway underneath the bridge.
Right.
Where we used to, Jacob, we used to go sledding over there. Remember?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, Mikvah on Erev Rosh Hashanah and Mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur were in two different spots, a good 10 feet to 20 feet difference.
High tide, low
I
tide.
hear. But if the bridge is 1,000 feet, you got to figure that it's 300.
Yeah.
You got to.
Even
no?
if it's half.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to test it out. Either way, but the point is,
if you're Italian guys who own the construction,
it's certainly you don't have 70 amos from Atlantic Beach. That's true.
What do you mean? From
That's
the green
true.
to green? Isn't it?
So I'm saying, no, but the
we
bottom
take a
line
tape
is
measure
that
and
if
we
you have
send Liner in, and Liner has to swim across. We hold the other end of the tape measure.
No, 1 second. Liner, he has an Apple Watch, which came up on the Daf today, right, on the chat. He has an Apple Watch. I'm sure that will give him the measurement. In the water. If you swim, it's water. He has a waterproof one. Anyways,
Liner, you're taking a beating
that's
tonight,
basically again the 70 Amos overlaps each other. That combines the cities, right? Whether you square off the cities and those, that's already a whole different shiloh, which I think we will get to. All right, have a good night, everybody. I'm sorry it was a little long and a little technical, but now we're caught up, Baruch Hashem. Now we just got to start going ahead for the last days. Okay.
Right back where we started.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good
Jack,
night.
can I ask you about that Shiloh today?
Which shiloh?
What?
You said it depends on how you feel.
Who's going in your family?
I have no recollection what you're talking about.
Hold on, I'll read it.
Oh, you're
back
talking about with the Harachamon?
Yeah.
I think I do say it. I just don't remember a source. So I kind of, that's, yeah. Does the Olam here say Harachamon who Yokim Lonu and Sukkos David in benching?
I stopped by Leolam Lechazreinu.
Now you say like a real Chai Berliner.
Why wouldn't we say it?
What?
Why wouldn't you say it?
I think you do say it. Why wouldn't you?
Say why wouldn't you? It's Sukkos, no?
It's Sukkos, right? I would think that you do, but I don't have a
What's
source.
the Havamina
So I have a source. So Leo asked me what I do. I said sometimes I say it, sometimes.
Say why wouldn't somebody say it?
What?
Why wouldn't somebody say it? You say Yal V'Yavai.
No, I'm sorry, Chow. That was that. The
Blanking
Shiloh
out.
was if you add V'Samchenu and Al Mechia.
What are you doing up there? Shooting.
I thought it was Rahman. What do you call it?
No, V'Samchenu. I just.
It wasn't who Yokim Lanu?
No,
maybe that was somebody else.
And Al Mechia.
Maybe it was somebody else. Oh, so V'Samchenu. I don't know. I have a source for it. I forgot. I have to look at it later.
No, but you said you do whatever you feel
2
like.
hours. Text me that. Text me 2 hours. That 2 hours, maybe not. An hour and a half.
You say you have to call the time?
Text you for a source an hour now?
No, that was real. I thought for some reason I thought you were talking about Harakam. What? Losing you.
So, Stein, you have a shear in the morning at 9 o'clock?
Talking to 3 different people.
We do it tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow I don't know what time the shear is going to be. It's definitely not going to be 9 o'clock.
What's it on?
I really
it's
hope
on Gemara
later,
Shabbos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I really hope it's later.
It's definitely not earlier. It's but it can't for sure can't be before 9:45.
Are there any other ones during the day as well?
Right now, at this point, not. At this point, not. But after Pesach, probably yeah.
I went to work today, and they changed the rules, and because Julie has COVID, they said come back October 16th.
Oh, now are they paying you?
Yeah.
Okay, Givaldic. So then you are officially anointed to measure the Atlantic Beach water now.
I can't leave the house though. That's the problem. I'm still quarantined.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise,
All right.
I'd love to.
Okay, we'll let you off the hook.
Sviaki, you saw the pictures I sent you?
Yeah, but what is going on there?
I don't know who lets Avi know, but
I got 4. I got 1, 2, 3 walls.
You got a corner. That's okay.
I got 2 90-degree angles.